Hey everybody, had a subscriber ask me to review Wysong pet food. So we're going to go ahead and take a look and see how healthy Wysong actually is. So probably the first thing you noticed is this is not my typical background. I am not in my office, studio, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually at my grandson's, in my grandson's room up in Minnesota. So as you can tell, he's into Pokemon. So you're gonna see Pokemon background for this video. So anyway, Wysong, I went to their website and checked it out. Wysong has been around a long time. I haven't heard the name in quite a while, but they actually make three brands. Like most food companies, they've got to have their different brands, and one is called Optimize. And I'm not going to spend any time on Optimize, but it is a diet that basically is just protein. As a matter of fact, they label it. I don't have my iPad, so just working on my little black book as usual, but no iPad today. But Optimize is just a high meat diet, and I don't even want to call it diet because it's for dogs, cats, and ferrets. Now, I don't know about you, but there's a big difference between dogs, cats, and ferrets nutritionally, but this diet basically is just a bunch of meat, and just like the name says, optimize, it's there to optimize the current diet you're on, which is going to do what? Add a whole lot more protein to that diet that you're feeding the dog, cat, or the ferret. And I am not going to comment on ferrets because, as far as I know, they're carnivores just like cats. But that's all my knowledge on ferrets. So the other line is the optimal line, and I do love the word optimal. I use it a lot in my verbiage. The optimal line, we're going to actually look at the canine adult diet, and then we're going to look at the canine senior diet, and again, see how those nutrients perform. How healthy are they for both the adult dog? And remember, healthy, what's the definition of healthy? Something that promotes good health and reduces the risk of disease. That's what healthy is in my definition, and that's what I look at when I look at food. I'm not looking for the best in some other category. I'm looking at what's healthiest for my pet to keep them healthy, promote good health, and reduce the risk of disease. So we'll look at the adult, and then we'll look at senior. And senior is very close to my heart. I love old dogs, and I know how crucial nutrition becomes the older they get. So we're going to talk about that. And then the last one is Epigen, and Epigen 90 is actually what one of my subscribers asked me to review. So we'll look at that as well. And this is the ultimate in their product line. So we'll discuss that as well. Okay, now at the risk of sounding really dumb, I should, a smart guy would just avoid this line in their literature, but I have to put it in because I want to try to be as informational as I can. But so the optimal line, it represents new advanced technology that moves companion animal nutrition closer than ever to archetypal genetic expectation. Now, I'm sure I'm totally ruining archetypical. I don't know. You guys can comment and tell me how to pronounce that. I'm sure it means something about like ancestral, genetic appropriate, all that kind of baloney. So the word is getting me all messed up here. But anyway, that's what it says. So you guys tell me what it means, okay? For the discerning customer who demands the highest protein. Okay, so that's a kind of a indication to us. One, we know there's Optimize, which is totally insane nutritionally, but they make the product. But optimal, again, I like that, what they're saying here, for the discerning customer who demands the highest protein. Are you a customer that demands the highest protein in your dog and cat food? I hope you're not, but clearly they're selling this food, they're marketing this to you with that concept. So let's take a look at the adult optimal, and I'm going to compare it. You guys know I do this a lot, but I'm going to compare it to Science Diet Adult. And because this is a high proteinous company that they claim to be holistic and healthy, of course we all know holistic means squat, means absolutely nothing. Whatever feel good definition you want to give it, here it is, but it means nothing. But So they're saying they're holistic and healthy, and they're big into protein. And if you look at their website, you'll see this. So to compare that fairly apples to apples, I'm going to take the Science Diet Adult no corn, soy, or wheat diet and compare those nutritionally to see which one is healthiest. So Wysong's website offered very little information as far as nutrients, so I had to call the company. Lady was very nice, but all she could do was give me percentages on a dry matter basis. Now, dry matter is much more accurate than as fed. As fed is going to be skewed a little bit because of different moisture content. So dry matter percentage, I'll settle for that since I can't get it in milligrams per 100 kcals. But I definitely would take a notch off their credibility, the fact that they can't provide the actual nutrients of their food in a scientific way. But so we're going to go with dry matter basis. So let me throw it up on the screen here so you guys can see it. But the optimal adult dry we're looking at here, it comes in at 44.7% protein. Calcium and phosphorus, we're looking at 2.1% calcium, 1.3% phosphorus, and the sodium comes in at 0.4%. Now again, like I've said in many videos, percentages, numbers of one product mean absolutely nothing until you compare it to something else, okay? Then you can decide, hey, is it really good, is it really bad? We already know, before I even throw up the Science Diet numbers here, we already know 44.7%. They're saying they're delivering high protein, and man, are they delivering high protein. Here's the Science Diet. This is with no corn, wheat, or soy, and it comes in at 22.6% protein. So that is literally half the protein of this diet. Does that make it deficient? No, not at all. The board certified nutritionists that formulate these diets at Hills are not going to be deficient. Matter of fact, they'd probably get sued if they were, but there's no protection against excesses. The USDA doesn't care, NRC doesn't care, AFCO doesn't care. Excesses, that's just not a concern because most of those folks aren't veterinarians and they're not nutritionists, that's for sure. So 22.6% versus 44% protein. If you're the discerning customer that wants more protein, I would ask you why. Okay, what do you think? I just talked with a board certified nutritionist yesterday because I always stay in touch with these guys and gals because I want to make sure I'm not giving you bad information. And I said, so just confirm to me what happens to all that extra protein after the animal gets all the amino acids they need. Now the liver and the kidneys have to deal with breaking that all down. Some of it will get converted over to glycogen eventually. That will become an energy source. So you are getting some energy from that protein, but it is the most inefficient and expensive, if the meat is a good quality meat, to provide energy that way is insane. That's just stupid. You could do that with fat, you can do it with carbs. Ooh, with carbs. Yes, you can do it with carbs for less money and actually less taxing on the kidneys and liver, which I know some of you carnivorous people out there, it's blowing your mind, but I'm sorry, that's just a fact, okay? And what happens when you add all this protein, meat protein per se, okay? When you add meat protein, your phosphorus number is going to go up because phosphorus is found in the protein, in the meat. And if the meat source is low quality with bone, hair, hoof, chicken feathers, chicken lips, whatever, all that junk that they can sneak in there, guess what? It's going to drive that phosphorus level up. So there's two reasons why we find excess phosphorus. And I double checked on this too with my nutritionist friends. One is because there's just too much protein, so phosphorus comes with it. But the other is even the most purest meat sources are going to have phosphorus. But if it's a low-grade meat source, it's going to be full of phosphorus because of all the foreign junk in it. Does it make sense? So what do we find with Optimal? Ironically, they're calling it Optimal. The calcium is 2.1%. It's only 0.75 in Science Diet. Okay, 0.75. Phosphorus, 1.3% in the Optimal, 0.56. Let me just make sure, yes, 0.56. So literally we're looking at less than half the mineral content in the Science Diet for a healthy adult dog versus what you're getting in Optimal. And it's really ironic, Optimal, there is no way in hell it's Optimal, okay? No nutritionist that's actually looking at nutrition and reducing the risk of disease and promoting good health is going to say, sure, let's double the mineral content. Okay. And Optimal's not doing it. They're not saying, oh, minerals are so good, we're going to spend extra money and put those minerals in the food. No, they're there because of the sources that are going into that food. Because Optimal is the last thing they're looking at. They're looking at just making an attractive diet, at least in my opinion, that people will buy. Just like they said, this diet is for the discerning, another ironic word, the discerning customer that wants the highest protein. You don't want the highest protein. You just don't. Not for the healthier animal, maybe because your philosophy, your carnivorous religion, but not for the healthier animal. And what do we find? Sodium 0.4 hits 0.3 in Science Diet. Probably not a significant difference. Let's look at the cost per pound of these two foods, okay? Already, there's no way I'm feeding Optimal to my dog because I'm actually looking for Optimal. I'm going to feed the Science Diet numbers there, but I'm going to pay $2.67 a pound for the Science Diet, and I'm going to pay $3.49 a pound for the Optimal Adult. So what am I getting for almost $1 more per pound? I'm getting twice the phosphorus levels, twice the calcium levels. If I have a dog that is just predisposed to kidney disease or urinary stones or hypertension, I'm just making that worse, spending $1 extra per pound for that diet called Optimal. And it is not optimal. The crazy thing is, it gets even worse, okay? Let's move on to, I'm forgetting the name of the subscriber that asked me to do this review on Epigen, but here you go. I hope you're you're not going to be happy with this review of Epigen. So Epigen is their brand, and let me go back and read what they said about Epigen. Epigen starch-free. It's the world, this is cool, this is the world's first and only starch-free kibble and most genetically appropriate. Now, genetically appropriate, I can handle that archetypal pole genetic expectation. It's still can't figure that one out. But anyway, so Epigen, first of its kind, and it's the most genetically appropriate. And of course, as soon as you see genetic appropriate, it's that whole wolf thing. You know, we're all familiar with that. I like this, truly without nutritional equal. There's no equal to this diet, okay? So let's do the crazy thing and actually apply nutrition to this diet. And I think what we'll do, let's just put it up there. Protein in this diet for a canine, for an omnivore canine adult animal, protein 65.6%. I don't even know what to say. Have we gotten that far along the slippery slope of pet food marketing taking over to the point we don't even discuss nutrition anymore, that we can sell and get people excited about feeding a diet that's 65% protein? Your animal can only absorb so much protein, take in so many amino acids, use it the way God intended. All the rest is what we call excess, not high, not ultra high, not, you know, whatever. It's excess, and any excess in any form in life is always what? Negative. There's no excess. This is a good thing. Excess, again, ironically, Optimal is what we want. Love the name of their food. But here's this diet here, 65% protein. Calcium goes up to 2.4%. Phosphorus goes up to 1.5. Let's just make everything worse, okay? And what are we going to do? We're going to charge extra for this. This diet comes in at $4.96 a pound, which is $1.50 over their Optimal diet, and which is what, almost double that of Science Diet. And what are you getting? Nothing but dangerous excesses that your dog does not need. In no way, shape, or form is there any board certified nutritionist that's going to look at that diet, unless they've just been bought out, which I hate using that term. I mean, we live in a modern world, everybody's got an opinion, but the majority of board certified nutritionists would say, okay, what is the point of this? And again, you can break it down. Why would I want excess minerals? Why would I want excess protein? That is literally if Hills is at 23, they're at 65. Is that like 3 times higher? I mean, it's just insane. And yet they're going to charge you extra for it. And, you know, they may be buying really high quality meat. I'm not going to question their integrity there. What I'm questioning is learn something about nutrition. Okay? I mean, the best ingredients in the world, you know, that money can buy mean nothing if you're not delivering optimal nutrients. Again, going back to their brand name. Okay? So pretty crazy. And if this doesn't floor you, it should. One, you can imagine this is for all life stages. It has to be. You know, puppies can eat this, but so can cats. I mean, I think this is the only food company that I've reviewed that I was even aware of that would say, here's our premium dog food, and guess what? You can feed it to your cat. So here's a diet, optimal nutrients, the best you can get. No equal to this diet for your dog, but you can also feed it to your cat. Come on. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, now let's switch gears from adult. Now we have a senior dog. Let's say, you know, he's 7, 8 years of age, medium-sized dog. If it's a large breed, maybe, you know, 5 or 6. But now we're looking at the health risks associated with these dogs aging. So the mineral content becomes important, protein becomes important. Again, just trying to reduce, especially at this point, reduce the risk of age-related diseases. We can do that nutritionally. It's not species appropriate, has nothing to do with that. It's what can we do with different ingredients to manipulate nutrient levels to reduce the risk of disease that is so common in dogs and cats, especially kidney disease, calcium oxalate stones, things like that. So I'm just going to throw both up. I'm going to put up the optimal. Now we're back to optimal. We're done with their crazy diet. We're back to optimal. Here's the optimal senior, and you can see the numbers there. 43% protein, 2.1% calcium, 1.2 phosphorus, and 0.3 sodium. And let's go ahead and put the 7 plus. This is the senior version of Science Diet with no corn, wheat, or soy. And what do we find? 21% protein, a little lower than their adult. 0.8% calcium, and 0.7% phosphorus. So again, we're looking at literally half the amount of minerals in the Science Diet versus the optimal diet. And sodium levels actually basically the same, 0.3% in both. Okay, so we can see Hills is actually addressing the mineral restriction, and and you're not seeing it because I'm not looking at ingredient panels, but I can guarantee you they're probably throwing in alternative protein sources, both meat and plant. That helps get that phosphorus level and other minerals down to be healthier for those kidneys and all, where the optimal, again, 43% protein. Show me the data that I should feed my older dog. I've got a 14-year-old Havanese right now that Bella should be on 40% protein. That's just crazy. Okay, but there it is. So there's senior. So how about you cat folks? I don't want to leave you cat. Ed, you out there? This is I'm going to do canned, Ed, so that you'll be happy. We don't want to do dry because dry cat food is from Satan. So we're gonna do canned. Okay, so we're going to look at their uretic diet. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Uretic, so like urinary is how I think about it. And when I asked the gal on the phone, she said, yes, you could use this for cats with urinary issues. So instead of going to a prescription diet like CD, Hills, or Royal Canin or Purina, I thought, let's just take their uretic diet and compare it to regular Science Diet cat food. And this is canned, both versions are canned here. And here's the nutrient levels on both those products. First thing you'll notice is the protein is just a little bit lower in the Science Diet. But if we look at calcium and phosphorus, which are very important, mineral level excesses for cats is much more critical even than dogs. And those of you that have had cats that have plugged on urinary stones or have had kidney disease, you probably know that, but minerals are just, excess minerals are really bad for your cat. So we're at calcium 1.1 versus 0.8 in the Science Diet. So it's a little lower. Phosphorus 0.7% in the uremic, no, it's not uremic, sorry. Uretic. These names are going to kill me. I guess I'm on vacation and I'm not thinking very clearly. But anyway, the phosphorus is 0.7 and it's 0.6 in the science diet. Sodium is 0.6 in the Uretic diet, and it is 0.3 in the science diet. So there's a difference there. I add magnesium because magnesium is one of the culprits of urinary stones with cats. And so it's 0.1 in the Wysong diet, and it's 0.06 in the science diet. So that's a pretty significant difference there. So if we look at that mineral compound, that those four we're looking at, we see a little bit of an improvement with science diet. But remember, this is just regular, good old-fashioned science diet for a healthy cat, not with urinary issues. But Wysong is saying their diet is actually for cats with urinary issues. So I have a problem with that. I think you're better off with the trusted therapeutic diets from Hills, Royal Canin, and Purina. And if you look at the cost per day, again, we're looking at, this is canned, so it's per ounce, just apples to apples, 41 cents a day for the Wysong, 44 cents a day for science diets. The science diet is 3 cents more an ounce. But again, if you look at the nutrient profile, as usual, they win. They're just healthier, okay? But I have to say, at least this Wysong cat food is not as crazy insane as the dog foods are. And it does say, the Wysong does say for all life stages. So again, we know those nutrient levels are high enough for growing kittens. So really, do I want to feed those minerals and that protein and everything else in that diet to my 5, 6, 7-year-old cat? Okay, that is not optimal. And ironically, I love the fact that their brand is called Optimal, and it's the last thing from it. So anyway, so I am not too, Wysong really did not impress me very much, and I hope this was helpful to you. Please give me some comments and let me know what you think of the diet. Maybe you're feeding it to your own animal and they're doing well. That's great, but you know, we're all looking for what's the best and healthiest for the money we're spending. And that's what's important. So anyway, greetings from Minnesota. And hey, I am told I don't do this enough, but I need to ask you to please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And leaving comments, that's really what I enjoy. And I really try to answer every one of them that I can. And some of you guys have such great questions that I actually have to refer to a nutritionist to tell me, hey, you know, I think I have the answer, but I want to make sure I'm right. The last thing I want to do is put out bad information to you guys, because there's way too much of that going on. So again, I hope this was helpful. Drop a line, say hi, and we'll talk to you soon.